Cool.
Uh,
Do you want to start?
yeah, I'll start. But when I say pause, it's because I gotta get another drink.
Why don't you get another drink now?
Cause I ain't done with the first one yet.
Okay. Well, we're we're recording, and that's definitely staying in.
Oh,
That's
we're,
de-
we're recording right now.
we're recording right now, and
Oh my god,
that's definitely staying in because that was funny.
you're not leaving that in the episode.
Yo, listen, our listeners don't care. Let's introduce this thing. You first.
Oh my god. Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl Nicole Ramos, and we are back again with episode 2 of Just STD, Something to Do, and I am back here with my co-host, the incredible GV.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going out there? I am having an amazing time here with Miss Buns. I see how she tried to change her name back to what it was beforehand, but nah, we're going back with Miss Buns.
Oh my god.
You already have a squad behind you for the Miss Buns allegiance. So we're getting there.
You see what happens when some people can't let go of some things. So hey, listen. I want to go ahead. I know you're going to talk about some crazy stuff, but I'm going to cut you off right now and go ahead and jump into something because this has been on my mind since I first heard about it. I want to talk about it. I have thoughts. I have feelings. I want to know yours, and I am talking about the August Alsina, Jada Pinkett Smith situation. I'm going to start with you. So go ahead and tell me your thoughts on that.
I mean, what thoughts are there? She turned homeboy out. He's now feeling away because she's not giving him that type of energy no more. And now he's wilding on every social media presence that he has. I don't know.
Oh,
I really don't know how much different it is from that.
okay, because at first her camp was kind of denying that there was any truth to the situation. And I immediately, because I watched the interview that he did, and I, as someone who has been in love before, just like seeing him talk about it and seeing the look in his eyes, I'm like, oh yeah, he's telling 100% the truth. Like he's 100% telling the truth. That man was in love with her. So there was like no way that she could deny it.
Sure. If we're talking about the Smith family, I mean, it's gone on record from my understanding that they do open relationships. They do open relationships. They are still a family, they are still a unit, but as far as their love lives, they have no problem kind of traveling outside of that and enjoying other people. But you also have to understand, at the end of the day, that woman is married, and that is just not how. That's just like that energy that she was giving you. You had to know from jump was not going to last. First and foremost, you're August Alsina, and she's Jada Pickett Smith. Like, you really thought that you had it like that, homeboy? You don't, and now you're realizing it, and now you're sad. So sad.
Do you believe that when he said that he had a conversation with Will and Will gave his blessing? Do you believe that?
Will hasn't said anything against the contrary.
He's been very quiet.
I'm not, and I don't want to say, that, silence is an answer, but that conversation allegedly happened, what, months ago? Like months ago, if not, I want to say last year, but I could be wrong. But it was a while ago. He hasn't said anything, so I mean, I don't know.
I mean that the interview recently came out, like probably like a week ago. So, but still, a week is a week, and that's, I mean, I don't, if I, was married to a woman and someone was out there saying that I gave my blessing for you to be in a relationship with her, if it wasn't true, the first thing you're gonna hear from is me, like pretty shortly after. And it's been like, I want to say like almost a week since August did this interview, and we're still not really hearing anything from Will. I know Jada posted on Twitter saying that she has something about there's some healing that needs to be done, so she's bringing herself to the red table as far as her show Red Table Talk.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah, so that would be really interesting to see. But talking about open relationships, open relationships in general, what's your opinion on open relationships?
I think most of y'all are in open relationships and just haven't found out yet. So that would probably be my opening thought there. But uh, we kind of talked a little bit about this like off mic. There is with so much access to people and just being able to connect with whoever you want at any point. I think monogamy is going to become more and more rare as time goes on, because like why would I subject myself just to this one energy when I can be out there in it all, is what the mindset's going to be. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's I think that's just where it's going to be at, and I think we're going to move more and more into people having open relationships, people having polyamorous relationships. I think it's almost inevitable. But me personally, I'm selfish. I just need one. I just need
So
one.
you could never be in an open relationship?
I will say now, no. It would have to be, there'd have to be some certain circumstances before I was like, okay, that sounds cool.
Mm.
Main thing would just be maturity. I don't know if I'm mature enough to uh be able to be in something like that, but I would like to be. I would like to be mature enough to be able to handle that kind of environment, sure. But I'm not. But I'm not. I'm not. Me and these cheeks, that's it. I don't need nothing else in here. But that's just me. That's just me. What about you?
um I am I am Latina. Like, no. Like, is that even a question? Like, no,
Okay.
there's literally is no. Like, I could not do an open relationship. I'm when I am in relationships, I tend to be a tiny bit possessive, which is something I'm working on. But no, it's not something for me. If it works for you, that's great. It's not something I am at all interested in trying out. What about like a polyamorous relationship though, where it's like you guys have a girlfriend together, like y'all are like a throuple or whatever?
Is that what polyamorous is? I thought polyamorous
Yeah.
was like you pretty much do whatever you want, but everybody knows each other. I thought that was more so how
I
that
mean,
works.
from my understanding of polyamory, it's like having a like y'all have a girlfriend together. An open relationship, from my understanding, is you guys can basically, do your own thing. If I so want to have sex with someone, and if you so want to have sex with someone, then that kind of is cool. But it's more of like a one-off type thing. Like maybe if I randomly want to hook up with someone, I can do that. But a polyamorous relationship is like an actual relationship with you and a third person. So there's a third
Okay.
person in the relationship, and that person is like basically your second girlfriend,
Okay. So I
that type of
pulled
thing.
up the definitions here. Let's see how close you were. So polyamory uh is the practice of or desire for intimate relationships with more than one partner with the informed consent of all partners involved. It has been described as consensual, ethical, responsible, okay, okay, okay. So polyamory, I think, is closer to what I'm talking about as far as there are you're allowed to have intimate relationships with more than one partner, but everybody is aware of that. So if you come home and I say, yo, Becky's in the sheets upstairs, you know that you're sleeping on the couch tonight, type shit.
Okay, so then what is it called whenever, the Sister Wives show on TLC, when they're like all three together? Like, you know
Isn't
what I'm
that,
saying?
that's not, that, I know what you're talking about, but
I'm
that's
pretty
not the
sure it's
same thing.
polyamory. I'm pretty sure.
That is because they're only, I mean, maybe that's just another way of doing it. Maybe that's another way of doing it. But
Okay, well, let's take all the terms out of the equation. The question that I have for you is,
okay.
what do you think about that? The idea of being in a relationship with two people, like y'all three are in a relationship together. What do you think about something like that?
I wouldn't be down for that. I think if we're talking about having multiple if we're talking about having multiple partners in a single relationship, I'd be more inclined to do a like I can have multiple girlfriends, boyfriends, or whatever, as long as I inform you who I am intimate with, like who these like what
Mm-hmm,
these relationships are. I would prefer that if I was in a realm that I, of wanting to be polyamorous. But I couldn't do
mm-hmm.
the whole like, oh, this girl, that's his girl too. Like I couldn't do that. That sounds like clown behavior, and I just can't be a part of that. So sorry.
I mean, some people are very happy in these open relationships, polyamorous relationships, whatever, sister wife type
Yeah,
setups.
yeah,
They're very happy and they're constantly talking about how happy they are. And yeah, so it sounds like it's not something for us, but for some people, it seems to work.
ooh, I feel a transition coming on. Keep going, I'm listening. Yeah, okay.
Well, since we are on the topic of dating, which is something that we're kind of both doing,
Is that what we're calling
um,
it? Okay.
well, not necessarily with each other, but
No, no, no,
out
no.
here, out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In our own respective streets.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
our own opposite ends of the world, because you have to remember we are on opposite ends of the world. Um, what do you think about first dates canceling? And if they do cancel, do you give them another chance?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily see why. I think it depends on the reason. It depends on a lot of extraneous factors. But if we had a date and you for some reason couldn't make it, and you communicated that with me within a recent time frame, like not me sitting in the restaurant waiting for you and then my phone rings, you know what I'm saying? Like that's trash. But to hit me up a few hours, like, yo, I was really hoping that I could get out there tonight. I couldn't, blah, blah, blah. Let's reschedule. I'm completely down for that. But let me tell you, I am a two strikes, you're out kind of person. So sure, you can't make it out the first time. Great. If we go out a second time and you're like, oh, I can't make it, let's try it. There's no third time with me. Your energy is obviously not here, and that's fine. But life is too short for me to do this back and forth with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Greg is nice, but I personally, if it's the first date and you cancel, I'm kind of like over you at that point. Like it's the first, first impressions to me say a lot. Um, but if I know you and we've, been talking or been dating or whatever, and then you cancel, I mean, that's a different story. But the first date, I don't know. I would not be inclined to want to reschedule with them or further entertain them because I think first impressions they say a lot. It would have to be a really good reason, and but yeah, that's kind of how
And we
I
know
look at
your
this.
list of really good reasons is very short. Uh,
Very short,
yeah,
very short.
so who
Like,
knows who I think we already know how that conversation's going, but I'm not gonna get onto that. I'm not gonna get onto
yeah,
that. Yeah, so I mean it's just it sucks, it stinks, but you know, people should put their energy, people are gonna put their energy into what matters to them and
yeah. I am a big believer that people will show you how they feel about you, not
yeah.
tell you. They will show you how they feel about you. So I'm just like, look, if your actions are showing me something, it doesn't really matter what your words say. Your actions are showing it. So but
Yeah.
that's really how I feel that. But that can go deeper off into the relationship, not just like first dates. This can be like, you guys have been dating for almost a year. Like I really, first of all, I believe that you have to teach people how to treat you and how to love you. Like I am a big believer in, like, when I'm in a relationship or when I'm talking to someone, like I'm gonna tell you I like when you do this, or I don't like when you do this, or you doing this or saying this makes me feel like this. Like, I am teaching you how to treat me, how I like to be treated, how I like to be loved. And because I, I really feel like actions, they say a lot.
So now, man, so we've had conversations off air, and I'm pretty familiar with how short your relationship views can be. Uh, do you do you personally think that you need a little bit more flexibility in your dating life?
I think that you probably think I need a little more flexibility in my
Yo,
dating
don't
life.
personalize this, fam. I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question. That is a question, not a criticism.
I
Uh,
think you think that, because I mean, I I do. I have a tendency of just like really like kind of cutting guys off because of like this is it's been too many different little things and I'm just over it. You know, I'm not really feeling this, so I just cut you off. I One could say that maybe I could use more flexibility when it comes to dating, because it's like basically you enter two categories into my life. Like, you're either someone that I'm talking to, and I'm not going to give you like a lot of leeway to mess up, because you should be putting your best foot forward when we're like 1, 2, 3 months into talking to each other. And then the other category that you're in is, okay, we're dating, we've been together for like at least 6 months now, I'm really like, I have feelings for you, and I'm willing to, you know, give you leeway as far as you not coming through the way that I need you to. So I don't know, like, that's kind of a hard question, because I feel like if you start talking to someone and they're showing you red flags, like, why would I? We just started talking. Like, why would I want to continue to entertain this? Like, if you're
uh,
already showing me these red flags, like, I don't know.
Depending, once again, this is all relative to the person, but I think depending on what those red flags are, like for me, I don't think that necessarily having to cancel a first date says says anything that's like too bad. Like life happens, things come up, people aren't perfect, it happens.
Yeah.
Obviously, a trend of that is an issue, but I think some people don't give people the leeway of just being people.
Hmm.
And I think it can just cause things to fizzle out before anyone's really given them a chance to breathe. Uh, but you know, we all have past, we all got baggage, we've all got to approach those things
Yeah.
as
I
best
mean,
way that we can.
yeah, one could say that I am a bit selfish when it comes to, you know, how I want to be treated, and things I will put up with and things I won't put up with. But in the same regard, like, I I can name, you know, a couple of different guys I dated where it's like they did this and then they did that and then they did this and they did that, and I continuously, you know, forgave and understood and listened to them, and we got back together and stuff like that, you know. But that's after they've already kind of spent the time and put the work into showing me the kind of man that they were, and we already had built like a love for each other. So it's like in that situation where he's already shown me the great man that he is. He's already shown me that he does love me. He just happens to mess up. Like, in that regard, I'm very forgiving, almost too forgiving. But if we haven't built that kind of repertoire with each other, then I don't know. I have very thin patience for a man that I don't have, you know, that kind of background with. I have very thin patience for that.
Understood. I mean, there's so many, especially when you're talking about dating, there's so many people out here that I do think you have to find your own ways to streamline the process. You know what I mean? Like there's so, especially as a woman, I'm sure like you have men approaching you every day, especially with dating websites or hell just being outside. Um, so with all that kind of hitting your face all the time, it's like, I do think you have to come up with kind of a way to be like, you know what, I fuck with you, I don't fuck with you, and sometimes
Hmm.
you got to make those harsh decisions. But
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's like I'm really coming to this place in my life right now where it's like I'm seeing like, okay, I'm ready for a certain type of relationship. I'm ready for a certain type of commitment. I'm ready for a certain, type of thing. And there's a lot of men out here, regardless of age, because some of them are like in their 30s and they're still not ready to give that. And so it's like, for me, I feel like right now at this place in my life where I am really trying to like settle down, I am trying to like be with someone long term. It's like trying to weed out the guys that are really not ready for that kind of commitment yet, who are not ready to give that type of same energy back to me. Because if you're not ready to give that to me, then you should probably just stay away from me, because we're looking for different things right now.
yeah, good point. It's definitely, I mean, a lot of dating is just kind of finding those people who are reciprocating that same energy that you're
Yeah,
that
whatever
you're
the energy is.
that you're putting out, for sure, for sure. Speaking of energy, and we have to work on our transitions because I feel like we both say speaking of a lot. So dating someone who has a different religious background than you, or maybe not even dating, just like just having an intimate relationship, whether that be friendship or more relationship wise, with someone that has a different religious background than you. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it would depend on what the religion is. Like I guess if I identified as any religious background, it would just be like Christian, because I have a belief in God. But I know like I've casually dated someone who was Jewish before. I've casually dated people who were agnostic before. Um, but if we're talking in a dating sense, like a serious dating, I don't know. I really don't know if I could date someone who was like an atheist per se, or like someone who had no belief in God whatsoever, especially if they like were constantly mentioning it, because I feel like both Christians and atheists have a tendency of like constantly bringing up the fact that they're a Christian or the fact that they're an atheist and their issue with the other. And that's super annoying to me. So as far as like long-term dating, if our religious backgrounds are too different, I really don't know if I could do something like that. Now, if we're just casually dating or we're just friends, then I mean, obviously it doesn't matter. But if we're talking seriously dating, I don't know. If it's too different from mine, or if you're not respective, you don't respect my views, and I like to think I respect most other people's views when it comes to religion. I don't know. I don't think it would work for me. What about you?
Oh, if anyone ever comes up to me and they say that they're any sort of religious whatever, that's a no-go for this guy. Because I like, don't come up to me and tell me that, oh, I go to church every Sunday and I'm a part of the congregation. Da, 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 da. That is a no-go for Gregory. Let me tell
Are you
you.
serious? You wouldn't even go to
I don't do
church?
it. Just no. It's for a lot of reasons that I will not name on this podcast. Maybe when we get a deal, I'll take this podcast to the next level. But right now, I won't necessarily put out there. But I think that if you are someone that has dedicated your life to a higher power, or puts such a strong emphasis in a higher power by way of religion, uh GV's not for you. I'm just gonna be 100% there, because I I grew up with saying like that, like religion and politics are things that you just do not discuss. So
In
if you're
relationships, though?
well, if you're telling me that I can't even have a casual conversation about it, to bring that into my intimate relationship, especially something so controversial, I'm already asking for problems. I'm already asking for problems because just by us being two different people, even if we were practicing a similar faith, already sets up a arena for there to be some disagreement just because we're two different people.
Yeah.
And have you ever disagreed with someone about their religion? I have. That shit is not good.
But if you're in a serious relationship with someone, is there a problem with disagreements, like as far as the way you view politics or religion or whatever? Like, is that, because it sounds to me like you just want to avoid the topic as a whole versus like
Because
agreeing to disagree, shall we say?
yeah, I it's I'm so mad because I had a thought and I lost it. Yeah, I mean I really just wouldn't want to get I just really wouldn't want to get wrapped into that. I think relationships are already so complicated and so intense that throwing something like religion into it, it can just be so crazy. Like I for one in relationships do not like to argue about things that cannot be measured. Me not taking out the trash, me leaving the toilet seat up, me not washing the dishes, those are all things that can be measured and can you can look at those and say like, okay, those things have been fixed, those things have changed. When you're talking about religious tolerance, whether it be relationships or otherwise, I can't measure that. So like I could think that I'm doing viable changes to make sure that, you know, I'm not imposing my beliefs on you or vice versa. Uh, but who's to say that that other person's going to receive it that way? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it could pop off. I mean, we've all been in relationships where, you know, someone just leaving a dirty spoon on the counter can take you back to, why were you looking at that bitch in Old Navy like that? Like you just don't know like where those, like you just never know where those disagreements can go. Um, and I would just I would feel terrible just just being in a relationship with someone where when I know that like that version of religion, you know, of a religious experience is just not for me. It's just not for me
Yeah.
at all.
Well, I am a child of the South, so if anyone is going to be dating me, you will have to go to church with me every Sunday. Um,
All right. All
no,
right, sure.
I'm kidding about that, but I do occasionally go to church. Occasionally.
Yeah, Christmas and Easter, like the rest of America. What are you talking about?
No, I go to church on days that are not just Christmas and Easter. But yeah, that's me though.
Yeah,
Everyone, has a different I for me personally, I think religion as a whole is a is a personal journey.
yeah,
And I think that you should find it on your own instead of having, a congregation or a book or anything tell
yeah,
you what religion is or what God is or what anything is. I think that you should just go out there and you should find it on your own. And I feel like that's what I've done. And so while church is not like I have to go all the time, for me, it can be a place of peace, and clarity, and a place I go when I seek guidance. And that's just me. And everyone, like I said, everyone has a different relationship with religion. But that's kind of how I view it.
yeah. If you're spiritual though, I'm about it. I love people who are spiritual. Like if you believe in energy and vibes, and
But
maybe that's like
but
the neo Christianity now. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but
Like who
see,
knows?
why can't we pair the two together? Because I consider myself to be spiritual. I mean, hello, I was just over here staging my apartment. Like,
Yeah,
I consider myself both. Like, I really do pair spirituality with my own like Christian beliefs,
I
and
think
I don't.
like I think spirituality is like a blanket statement that I think everyone can kind of get on. And I think especially now with just being diversity and tolerance, being such a big thing in our community, especially now, uh like to say that you're spiritual, I think is just a better way, because I think that just expresses to somebody like, yes, I believe in higher energies, I believe in karma, I believe in things that I cannot explain, but I'm going to put it within this, under this term, so it's not off-putting.
Oh, so we're talking about political correctness.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, there's a huge difference between, in my perspective, there's a huge difference between being religious and being spiritual. In my mind, religious is like, I am Jewish, I am Christian, I am Baptist, I am Catholic, I am this. Spiritual is, I believe in a higher power. Whatever that is what it is to me. And we can go from there where we go. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's just a
Mm-hmm.
safe gray area for everyone. Because as soon as you say God or something like that, you've already changed the tone of the conversation.
Yeah.
But that's just my 2 cents.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, continuing on with the whole dating thing, what do you think? I have a question when it comes to friends with benefits or fuck buddies or whatever you want to call it.
Ooh.
Is it possible? Is it possible to seriously only be friends with someone that you are also sleeping with? What do you think? Like, do you think, is that possible for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think that you'd have to have a big understanding of yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
you would, I mean, ah, man, I have so many examples, but none of them I can just I can I can put out on our public platform. But yeah, I think that you can. I think that if you work your way into just having that open dialogue and really just being honest uh, about it, I think that you can. I think it's more common though in people who realize that they have good sexual energy and a good friendship, but realize that relationship wise, maybe it wouldn't work out the way that, maybe that they would want it to.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are like the situations where it works out the best, because I mean, what's the problem with friends with benefits in general? Like, someone always catches feelings. So I think you have to be past the catching feelings part to really flex your muscles and something like that. But outside of that, hell no. Hell no.
So they don't work or they do work?
I
I don't.
I think that it can exist in a very small margin of society, but if we're speaking generally, hell no. I don't think that shit works. Because everybody wants to feel like they're the
Really?
one. Everyone wants to feel like they're the one. Even if they have all the evidence in the world that you're talking to other people, like, as long as you're making them feel like that special one, they could care less.
That's really interesting for me to hear a man say this, because I feel like it's so common for men to just be like, "Of course that can work out." Like, what?
Oh,
Like, that sounds awesome.
and those
Like,
guys are stupid. If that's what they honestly think, they're dumb, and they obviously have no sort of dating record to speak of. Hell no.
yeah, yeah. I mean, do you think that that friends with benefits, like that situation, is in general harder for women, or do you
I think.
think it's equal?
I mean, I couldn't say because I'm not a woman. I would say from my experiences trying to coordinate a friends with benefits kind of thing, that someone more than likely will catch feelings. I've been in friends with benefits situation where I've caught feelings, where I've been like, no, I want this to be more than
Mm-hmm.
just this. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I just think that when you're dealing with intimacy on that level,
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to like to draw that line. Because okay, so now you now let's say you get a boyfriend, I get a girlfriend, but what does that necessarily mean for us now? Some might
Yeah.
be like, oh no, that means we're done fucking, and other people might be like, well, nah, because we kind of had this vibe going. You know what I mean? So it's I think it's dangerous, and if you can avoid it, just avoid it. Just be single. Be single
Yeah,
all
I
day.
mean, I mean, when I look back at like my past, I don't think I've ever had a relationship like that. It's, I guess, the closest thing to like a
Knowing
quote
you,
unquote,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think the closest thing I've had to something like a friends with benefit thing would be like we're talking, we're getting to know each other. We haven't exactly put like the label on it that we're a couple, that I'm your girlfriend, you're my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. We haven't gotten there yet. So we're still like casually dating, getting to know each other, but we're also having sex. Like that is the closest I think I've gotten to a a friends with benefits type thing. Like I don't know if I don't know if it's just it because I see I have and I could be wrong about this, but I have a general belief that most women out here want one of two things, and that's either love or money.
Ooh, preach.
Like I really think that. So it's like when you think of a friends with benefits type situation, there's not really any love and there's not really any money coming in. So unless she's just like a horny girl and she just wants sex, which those women do exist, I don't want to like pretend like they don't, because those girls are out there that's really, they just want bomb sex and you happen to give it to them. So that's that. But I think when I think of most women, I really think that most of them, they either want love or sex. I mean, love or money. So yeah, I think for a lot of, I asked, do you think it's harder for women? Because I do think it's harder for women, because I think in general women they tend to look for one or the other, or maybe sometimes both.
Oh,
But
wow. Well,
but yeah, so
I think you can also, and I think this might go back to our open relationship kind of conversation, but I think you can um really enjoy an intimate relationship with someone and still want to like have have all those other things with someone else. So like you might have someone who makes you laugh, who's keeps you entertained, you guys go out on dates, very sweet, blah 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 blah, but they could be missing out on, but that sexual connection's not really there. um I think that could be another way that like that could kind of be coordinated. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we see it just, I mean, kind of going back to the first topic as far as like Will and Jada, like they fuck with each other so heavy on every other level, but obviously on the sexual tip, they do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I
it
mean,
takes, yeah.
and not to like, I don't know, like if that
It's definitely
if
not
that works.
normal.
If
It's
that
definitely not
works for
normal.
you, like finding this person, for this, and this person for this, and this person for this, like if that's your thing, then more power to you. It's not my thing though. I don't think it's ever been my thing. Because me personally, I really like finding like one person that I really vibe with and just talk to them.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if I haven't found that one person that I really vibe with, then of course I'll talk to like multiple people. But it's like in general, like I don't feel like I have like the attention span or the interest in talking to multiple people, because each of them give me something differently. Like I'd rather just find someone who gives me, most of those things in one. So it's like I just feel like that kind of takes a little bit of energy, like entertaining this person, this person, this person, and this person, because they all bring something different into your life. And if that works for you, that's cool. But for me, it's not how I get down.
I think that makes more sense in the grand scheme of things than kind of what we're perpetuating as far as like finding one person and
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you carry a Swiss Army knife, not just because you can make the knife do mad shit. No, you carry a Swiss Army knife because it's got scissors, it's got a nail file, it's got, you know what I'm saying? Like they're so like it's broken down in so many other pieces so it can kind of help you out in all situations. And granted, I think it does take a lot of mental capacity to coordinate something like that. I think more people now than ever do that. Because I can tell you people I talk to, and they're like, "Oh, I got somebody that I go to when I want to hit the clubs. I have somebody I go to when I just want to stay at home and chill. I got somebody I want to." I mean, I think we already compartmentalize like that. So doing it in a relationship does not seem as far fetched to me,
Yeah.
you know. But I would say that we're probably a part of the last generation that really sits on that line. I think the one, like the generation after us, they're like, why would I have one person? I can fuck with whoever I want at
Yeah,
any
but
given time.
that kind of goes like hand in hand with like this whole like hookup culture that we're, kind of a part of. Well, not me or you personally, but that the modern day, 20 something person, that's kind of the society that we're living in, is like the whole hookup culture, which is not really something I have been able to get down with. But again, more power to you if that's your thing. But yeah, I don't know. I would rather I like I like talking to one person and then seeing like what they're about, and if there's something there that is not interesting to me, or something that's off-putting, or something that I'm just like, you know what, I don't think this is going to work out, then I move on to the next one. And then I give him the time, and then we wait until he does something, and then I go on to the next one.
Wait until yo. Okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, because men have a tendency of fucking up.
Oh
so
gosh, that's a topic for another podcast. But yeah. It man. I say all that, but I have to say, if done properly, if executed properly with two consenting adults, I think there's something to say for someone coming up and just being like, yo, this is what I'm about. I would like to dick you down to see if this is gonna work out for me. And if it does, great. And if not, then then we find our own ways. Like, I think there's something to say, because I think that's even speeding up the process even faster than what our generation did. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're on a whole nother level, but all this stuff is a numbers game, and your shooting percentage is below 1%, like, of success. So but everyone should go about it whatever makes them feel comfortable. I am in no way saying no one should be a hoe in these streets. I'm just saying,
definitely.
Do you the best way you can do you. That's
sure. I mean, it's definitely, I will say, like, with how things are nowadays, I think it's very rare to find someone and that be the someone that you date for X amount of time, and then y'all get married and y'all have a family and it's happily ever after. I mean, it's super, super, super rare. But
big facts.
So going off of that, when you are getting to know these people and you're like seeing who might be right for you, there's some people who really just like being chased. Like that's kind of they like that. They like, especially, there's a lot of women out here who like being chased by a man. They like different men who double text them and are putting that energy in. So do you have a stance when it comes to like the double texting type things and getting to know someone?
Yes. And I think all men need to utilize the double tap. And let me tell you what I mean by double tap. If you send a message or a phone call or what have you, some form of communication, and they don't say anything, I think it's completely fine with after a decent amount of time has passed to double text. I think that is completely fine. What I don't think is okay is triple, quadruple, all that. Now we're getting into stalker territory. And if she didn't answer you the first 2 times, she's definitely not answering you the sixth, seventh, or eighth time. So that's just kind of how I look at it. Like, kind of going back to, like, if they fuck with you, they will fuck with you. If they don't, they won't. You know what I'm saying? But
It's
I think
very
the double
true.
text gets a bad rap because, hell, I mean, we've obviously known each other and texted for years. Hell, there's mad times you send me stuff and I, like, until you yell at me or something, that I don't get back to you. So sometimes, like, you know what I mean? Like, so sometimes there is a place for a double text. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how many times have we opened up a message and been like, yo, I'm gonna hit them back, and then put your phone down and forget all about it? There's a place for it.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
mean, but see, if you already know someone, I mean, me personally, if I already know you, I will quadruple text you. I don't give a damn. If I have something I want to say to you, I'm gonna get that message across to you.
I know that
But
too well.
but in the context of, just starting to get to know someone, like y'all are just starting to get to know each other. I mean, I think what you said is perfect, not just from a man's perspective, but from a woman's perspective as well, because there's some men out here that I may or may not have double texted and I'm still waiting on a reply for, but they're not gonna get a triple text. I'll just never talk to them ever again if they don't reply to the double text. You know what I'm saying? So
Love it when people admit that they're thirsty on the internet. That's so great.
I mean, not really, because these
I'm
were pretty like
kidding. Ah,
these
it's a
were it's these
uh-huh.
are I wasn't sending eggplant emojis. Like these are
Oh,
pretty
oh, smiley
casual
face,
texts,
nail emoji.
but
Yeah, yeah.
no, I mean, I think those are pretty, like, it's a pretty good rule to live by, I think, when you're out here getting to know people. um I also think, like, you have to be wary and aware of these people who, when you're around them, they're always on their phone. They always have their phone on them. Their phone is never on
Oh,
silent. And
oh
then
my
you have the
God.
hardest time getting a reply from them.
Yo,
That
don't
says
get
a
me
lot.
started. Yes, I feel you. I feel I can never get a hold of you, but every time I see your fucking phone is in your hand. Don't don't
Hmm.
don't get me started. I've been a part of that
Definitely. But that
far
that
too many
goes
times. Yeah,
that goes, hand in hand with, like, just watching what people do. You know what I'm saying? Because if
yeah,
you really watch what people do and you watch how they treat you, like, you'll get your own answers when it comes to dating and stuff like that. Like, the answers if you watch people, you watch their tendencies and you watch how they treat you, like, your answers was like they'll start coming to you.
yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. What is up next on our list? Unless you have something more on this.
No, that's I think we
Uh,
reached an agreement on that.
oh, geez, man. Are we gonna end it on a heavy note?
Yes, let's end it on a heavy note. I'm all
Oh
about I'm
gosh.
all
Oh
about
gosh.
a little heft.
Oh gosh. So when uh and what was your first experience with racism?
It's a great question. It's almost like I wrote it. Um,
Hard head ass. Anyway, keep going. Yeah.
no, this is a really good question. I actually saw this question trending on either Twitter or Facebook, I'm not sure. And people of color were sharing their first experiences with racism. Um, so yeah, I thought it would be an interesting topic.
Yeah. I
For me
agree.
personally, I was in third grade and I had a best friend. Her name was Carrie, and she was a blonde hair, blue eyed white girl. She loved horses, and I just like we were like, yeah, we're the best of friends. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember I went over to her house after school one day because she lived like across the street from the school, so it was like pretty easy to get over there. And I met her parents and everything was cool. And then, like, I think like my mom picked me up or something like that. And then the next day I went back to school and my best friend started acting a little funny. Like, she was acting like, she wasn't acting like my best friend, like how she had been acting.
Yeah.
And I think we were like at recess or something. And I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? And she told me, she said, I can't be friends with you anymore. And I said, why? And she said, my dad said I can't be friends with you anymore because you are Mexican. And
Whoa.
at that super young age, I like I didn't understand, you know, hate or racism or anything like that quite yet. So I remember her telling me that my dad said, I can't be your friend because you're a Mexican. And I remember thinking like, okay, and like I
Yeah,
don't like,
right.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean he's right. Like I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I'm
I
like,
got
I
you.
don't, yeah, I remember it wasn't until, you know, I got into my teens that I was like, oh, that was a racist moment right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't get it, but now I understand. And now, you know, Carrie and her parents can both fuck off. So
Wow. Wow. I like the name dropping. You have the whole internet looking for this chick.
that was 1000% her real name. So go ahead and cancel
Oh
her. That's
gosh,
fine. I'm just
vindictive.
kidding. No, really, it's not her fault because she was a little girl. Really, you should
Yeah.
cancel her racist ass parents, is what you should have canceled.
Oh, we're doing that. That's what the whole world's
Definitely.
doing right now.
Mhm.
Man, I can't remember like the first time I remember experiencing like just blatant racism. I remember I was at a park with my sister, and the park was built around a like a little pond area. There was like a bike course around it. Uh, and there was a white guy who was on the opposite side of this pond who was riding his bike, um, and he just yelled nigger at us from across the pond, like just out of nowhere. It was just like niggers, and I was like I was so. And let me tell you, this is the weird thing. Is like I wasn't afraid.
It was just like, what?
It was like yeah, but just because of my my ethnicity, my culture, my I like my immediate thought was, well, get my sister and leave. Like that was it. But I'll tell
Yeah.
you, like on a personal level, like I wasn't afraid. I wasn't panicked. I don't even know if I even told my parents that had happened. Like it was just like autopilot. Like, but I think
Hmm.
that when you're a person of color, you are groomed from birth to just like, hey, there's a good chance that white people aren't gonna fuck with you, and you've got to be wary of that. And, you know what I mean? So I think it's like it's almost like um like I think growing up black specifically, because that's all I can speak to, is you're groomed from birth to recognize and deal with racism almost calmly. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
these systems aren't built for you. This society is not built for you. So don't get yourself in some situations where you get fucked off, you
Oh
know?
yeah, there's definitely like a sense of like you have to like depending on the color of your skin, you have to handle certain situations differently
Yeah.
than, you know, how a white person would handle it. It's like
Yeah.
there's you can't react a certain way. You can't, you know, you
Yeah.
can't do some of these things that when a white person does it, it's cool. You know, they don't get that kind of conversation, but it's like I definitely understand that in certain situations there's certain things you can and cannot react to certain things.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, just for your own safety. I like that now
Hmm.
we're in a space where people of color, whether it be black, Hispanic, I mean, whatever, are standing up and saying, no, we have rights too, and
Hmm.
we're going to
Hmm.
exercise them. So I think we're moving into a far better, space,
Hmm.
as far as like racism and things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a ton of work to do, and I don't even know if I'll really see the fruits of our labor in my lifetime. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Do you think this might be a bit of a controversial question? Do
Let's
you
see.
think that there is during these modern times that we're living in with Black Lives Matter and everything, do you think that there is a sense of pandering coming from white people?
Uh yes. Yes. And I'll tell you this. Since we're talking controversial, I'm gonna give a controversial thought. My controversial thought, my hot take is that I think there are a lot, a decent amount of white people out there that are not racist, that have never even thought a racist thought, that have never whatever. But the truth of the matter is like, no, you didn't build this bike that we're riding on, but you're damn sure profiting from it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's so hard because to say pandering, because I think there are a lot of people out there that are white that are really trying to support this cause. You know what I'm saying? And they're getting a lot of flack for it, and they're like, oh, we're just trying to help. And that was kind of what I was saying in our last podcast. Just follow the lead. You know, don't go out in these streets trying to do something brand new or whatever, because I guarantee you it's not going to be seen.
Captain Save a Race.
You know what I'm saying? Word.
Captain Save a Race.
So it's like, yeah. So it's like, just don't like, just chill and really pay attention to see how you can actually, just see how you can actually help. But to speak generally to your question, yeah, I think there's mad pandering. I think these companies are pandering. I think there's people who are holding up BLM signs that are also pandering. There are people who are taking photos in front of rioted areas just for the likes. I think there's mad sorts of pandering going on, and it's sick. But the sad thing is, you can't prove intention. You can't. So that's how, a lot of these cats are getting away with it. But I mean, what are your thoughts on the pandering topic?
Like, first of all, I live in Los Angeles, and it's just so funny to me, like going into some of these, really rich neighborhoods and like Hollywood and Beverly Hills and whatnot, and you will see like a lot of the Black Lives Matter signs and stuff like that. And it's hard for me to believe that this kind of upper echelon portion of society,
Harvard words,
that lives so far removed from, most everyday people of color, you know what I'm saying, that live in this kind of box.
Yeah.
That's so far away from anything that me or you is living in. It's kind of hard for me to look at that and be like, that person really does care about Black lives. Like, it's hard for me to look at it like that, and not think, it's
a gimmick.
It is. It's hard for me to, but at the same time, I don't want to take away from the white people with well intentions, because there are some.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take away from that. And if this is coming from your heart, then good for you, and you are on the right side of history, and I'm very happy to see that. But some of you others, like, it's obvious, and just like I said earlier, it will show in your actions. It doesn't matter how many signs you put up in your window or how many things you have in your lawn talking about equality and Black Lives Mattering and abolish ICE. It doesn't matter how many bumper stickers you have, because in your actions and within your privilege, your true intentions will always be shown.
Ooh, I like that.
That's what I think. That's what I think.
I think that was a perfect note to end on. You got any goals for this week? I like to do the little goal things at the end of the week. Kind of keeps us on track for what we've got going on. You got anything you're working on?
I want to get deeper off into my writing. I've been getting back into writing. For people who don't know, I write poetry, I write journal entries, and occasionally I do a little songwriting. Ooh. And I want to dive back into that and commit to writing every single day like I used to. So that's my goal. What about you? What's your goal for the week?
It's so crazy to think that we're already on episode 2, which I know doesn't sound like crazy, but it's like, wow, we're already starting to like get a roll going. So I'm really excited to continue working on this podcast to get some better sound equipment. I want to uh, get our content on a place on a platform that is a lot easier for our lovely fans to access. Look at me, fans, like we're in these streets like that. So
Lovely viewers and
right,
subscribers.
all 5 of you, thank you so much. No, but seriously, so yeah, just really like working on. I'd like to get like some soundboard going. I'd like to get us some music. I think we have a lot of like energy and stuff that we can't really like that we really should just like be able to set the vibe for. So that's really what I'm gonna be working on. Hopefully we'll have a soundboard next time we do this darn thing. So you have any socials,
Yeah.
anything you're plugging this time, or we're just putting them in the description again?
We will, yeah, we're gonna work on doing that. And yeah, we got some work to do, but you know what? I definitely see you guys that are watching, that are commenting, that are liking and are subscribing. And as always, I'm so thankful for it. And just keep it up.
Yes, I
And
appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and you know, you guys are the reason that we do this, getting this information out there. So never hesitate to leave a comment or a like on our YouTube videos for if there's anything that you want us to kind of like dive into and give some feedback about. So yeah.
yeah. And we'll see you next time, guys.
All right, we are out this bitch.